Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Enlightened World Network. Today we have Divine Relationship Recovery with Deb Goldberg, and it's going to be a beautiful program, so stay with us. Before Deb comes on, I'm going to share what's going on, what's the happenings here at Enlightened World Network, and we are thrilled to be bringing so many programs here. Right after this show ends, it will be starting at 6 o'clock. The ladies of The Broader Edge, which is a new podcast with Enlightened World, will be interviewed by Summer Joy Raymer of Sign Network. So that will happen at 6 o'clock, and we will share that here on Enlightened World so that you can see all the ladies and hear what we have coming up for tomorrow's broadcast. Yes, our second podcast will happen tomorrow at 5 p.m. Eastern Time with the ladies of the Broader Edge, including myself, Mira Rubin, Liz Williams, and Sheila Cash. And we hope that you'll be able to join us for that broadcast. Tomorrow at 3 p.m., we have a meditation a day, as we do every day, but sometimes the times vary between 11 o'clock and 3 o'clock. At 8 o'clock tomorrow night, Michelle Landers will be bringing a full moon ceremony through Enlightened World, and I will be helping her with that. We're going to do some releasing with the full moon. Tomorrow is a beautiful super moon, and we hope that you'll come join in and do our ceremony. It won't be long, probably about 40 minutes or so, but you'll be able to join in and do your release. And then at 10 o'clock is Robert Painley with Robert's Haunted Pajama Party. There's only 4 more episodes, so tune in tonight and every night through Sunday for his show. On Friday at 1 p.m., I will do a show called Angel Speakers in Espanol, and I'll be speaking messages from the angels, and Lily Ortega will be translating that into Spanish for anyone who is not English speaking that can understand what those messages are. Coming up this weekend, we have the silent meditation at 10 o'clock Eastern Time. Deb Goldberg, Ruth Anderson, and myself will guide a meditation behind the scenes, and you will be sitting listening to beautiful music for about 20-25 minutes. Right after that, at 11, we're doing Come to the Temple, and Deb Goldberg will lead us in that particular program. We have so much going on. You can always tune in and find shows here. I forgot to mention 9 o'clock every morning is Mira Rubin coming on for a few moments of enlightenment about core connection. And right after that at 9:30 is Diane Beiersdorfer with a beautiful show on the playground. Wow, we are doing a lot, aren't we, Deb?
We certainly are. There's something for everybody. It's so beautiful. And there's more to come that we'll be finding out pretty soon, right?
Absolutely. We have stuff every day that we're like, oh wow, yes, oh wow, yes. The angels bring it, and our job is to say yes and see how that fits in and where it fits in and how we can do that. But right now, this beautiful show is brought to you by Deb Goldberg, and Deb is a spiritual teacher, mentor, life coach, amazing person and friend, and so knowledgeable about the way we live our life, and listens when Spirit talks, and listens especially when Jesus talks, when John the Baptist brings her messages. And I cannot wait to have this discussion today and find out what this teaching is all about. So grab a chair, get comfortable, and let's talk.
Thank you, Terry. It's always a pleasure to be here with you. So our discussion tonight is loving the life that you have been given. And there's so many different levels of that. And I thought, what an interesting time that God tells me that this is what he wants me to do today, because I had another topic in mind. And he said, no, loving the life you have been given. And he reminded me today, he said, I love you for not what you do. I love you for who you are created as one with God. And he said, you are my joy. And I it was so amazing because I thought, okay, so I can look at that as me, I'm his joy. But really, when you think about being one with our creator is joy. And so it is, you are a reflection of the joy of God. Isn't that beautiful?
That is so beautiful. And even though we've heard that you don't have to do anything to be loved, to be accepted, just really makes it clear, and it really brings it into an energy of pure love that we can understand.
Mhm. Yeah, so I thought, and God says these things in our discussions, but I know it's for everybody. It's not just for me. There is, and this is a big part of learning how to love the life that you've been given, because it's made and created just for you. It's for your own individual experience, even though we are part of a collective having this experience, and that there's a earth story to it, that we work together in bringing harmony to the earth as we bring harmony within ourselves. But when we're not connected, we don't understand how to love the life that we've been given in the way that God wants us to. And it's such a unique time right now with what's happening on the planet. And we were talking today about it being a forced timeout, a staycation, such an opportunity to go inside and actually listen to the reasons why you should be loving your life. And if you're not, asking yourself why. Why am I not loving the life that I've been given? That I don't take it for granted. And it means so much more than what I'm even talking about right now, which we'll go into. And this is my own story too, of what I've gone through in learning how to really embrace the life that I have been given. And part of that was when I call it being awoke, it's becoming aware that there's more going on that meets the eye, and that you start understanding higher consciousness. You start thinking out of the box. Everything starts looking different to you. When you first awake, it's like you're seeing with fresh eyes. You're seeing anew. You're seeing the world totally different. All of a sudden, you notice that people are smiling at you, and that in a way that you never noticed before. And nobody's changed. It's you've changed. You've changed. You've changed. Your perspective has shifted, and your consciousness has started to open up, and therefore you're seeing the world with new eyes. And this is what our whole journey is about, that every day we get the opportunity to have an expansion in our consciousness and start to see the world with new, fresh eyes. It's beautiful.
It is beautiful, Deb. And do you think before that awareness, we were so self-centered that we couldn't see the smiles on other people's faces?
Mm-hmm.
We couldn't see the joy that was in the world because we were focused on me, what's happening to me,
Mm-hmm.
and not seeing how we fit into the collective whole.
Right. Or that you're stuck in your head, because that's what happens as part of this experience. You get stuck in your head thinking, and everything that creates this very small little world, and being, like you said, so concerned about your own self and what's happening in your life, that you don't realize that life is so much more expansive than this little world that we have ourselves in. But even when I woke up and I started noticing all of this, one of the things that I started to understand is there was a part of me that didn't find this incarnation funny. And it's amazing how you start learning about all these different aspects of yourself. And I kept focusing on all of the negative things that I was looking at that maybe happened in my own life or what happens in the world, and saying, Jesus, I don't think this is funny. And it's not fun, because he's telling me, Deb, this is fun. Life is fun. You don't realize the power you have. You don't realize how magical it is. And I just kept staying in this space of, well, if things were really fantastic, why are all of these ugly things happening? Or why did these ugly things happen to me? And so I had to do a lot of growing and spending time with God and Jesus, of understanding really what this life is. And it wasn't the way that I was viewing it. And then also understanding that there's more going on than meets the eye. You start to understand it's an illusion and it's a story. You're like a character in a book. But until I got there to accept, I was in a place of resistance, of like, I don't see this as fun, and something's wrong here. And the only thing is that I wasn't ready to accept the magic of what life is.
Yeah. Do you remember, Deb, there was a book, I think it was like in the 60s, maybe 70s. Why do bad things happen to good people? So I think, we do think along that line. We think why, and we compare, we think things are bad or good, or, big or small. So it is something that's common, that we think, why does that happen to me? I'm a good person. Or, why did that person have something so traumatic happen?
Mm-hmm.
So it's human to have those questions.
It sure is. And if you don't have a relationship with your creator, you really don't have the real answers about any of those questions. And if you don't have that relationship, you don't know who you are. You don't know that you're a divine being that is loved beyond anything that you can imagine. And so I thought, this little staycation that we've all had, which is going on almost, I think, 8 weeks. And I realized that people have different things going on in their life and how they react to something like this. That how can you stay in a place of joy and feeling safe and really still loving your life and knowing that everything's okay, everything's going to be okay? You are not able to accomplish that unless you have the awareness of the relationship of love that you are. Isn't that right, Terry? That it really takes a connection.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because when we're disconnected from who we really are, we're seeing ourselves sometimes as a victim. Again, going back to, why do bad things happen to good people? Why did this happen to me?
Mm-hmm.
Or why did it happen to another person that was a victim? So when we get the connection, when we really understand that we are spiritual beings, that this experience we're in is something that we created. We said, I'm going to have this type of experience. So then we no longer become the victim. Then we're like, oh, now I see. I was supposed to experience things like this in this lifetime. So it really does shift your perspective. And I love Dr. Wayne Dyer. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. Mm-hmm. So it's that gentle shift of, oh, wait a minute, let me look at it that way. And then you no longer go into that things happening to you, but they're happening for you.
Right. And that there's guidance, and that these things are moving and happening in our lives for a purpose.
Right.
So once you start getting connected to that, you can stay more in a place of joy. And it doesn't mean that I never shift into another state of feeling or being, but it is easier to shift back out and go back into truth, divine truth, and go back into love and joy again. So there's so much power in loving and appreciating life. The more you love and appreciate your life, the more full you feel with your own love. And when you're in this state of being, you shift and create a more loving and grateful world. So the power in joy, the power in loving your life and embracing it, that it's a gift. You are creating on the outside more of a world that you'd like to see, because you're shaping it in your consciousness. You're saying, my vision is, I want to see joy in the world. I want to see the love that's there. I want to see compassion and kindness. I want to see people rising and enjoying their life and feeling full and coming into their purpose and passion and living life with that purpose and passion. So the power that you have to create out of love and appreciation and power, loving, and knowing that it's coming from this internal source of so much love, it is amazing. Like, we don't really understand the power that is just seated in that. And you talk about gratitude all the time, Terry, right? You talk about it on your Tuesday shows. So it is being grateful, loving and appreciating your life. It's a gift. And, I've had this discussion with Jesus too, because it's also a gift, spending time with God and being home. Yes. Right? And we go to that place, not just when we die, we're in that place all the time. And so when you're meditating, you're in that place of home, being so connected, being in the state of being of your natural presence. And so I forgot where I was going with that. So when you are in that place and you're creating from that place, it's coming from pure love, knowing that you are looked upon as pure joy, because that's all God is joy. And there's your reflection, your mirror reflection. And now I'm going to look outside myself, and that's what I want to see too.
And Deb, you talked about how we manifest, how we create what it is we want. When you go into gratitude, even before you have the evidence of what it is that you're envisioning, that you're wanting, that brings it that much faster. Gratitude adds in another layer. And so when we say, I'm so grateful for the money I'm going to have to pay rent this month, even if you don't see how that's going to happen, you give the gratitude. Instead of going into the worry and the fear about it, you just go into gratitude. It's going to be there. That's a faith. That's a trust. And that brings a whole new layer to that manifestation. Mm-hmm. And we do create. We create with our thoughts. We create with our words. Mm-hmm. We speak it into being. Mm-hmm. So, and coming from that place of divine love, what we're going to create is more love in the world. We're going to create more joy in the world. Mm-hmm. And I love how that happens. I love that we can have that life that we want. It's a choice.
It certainly is. And you get to choose it every moment of the day. This choice of, and really it is just staying in a state of joy that creates, because all you're asked, all I get told every single day is, I just want you to be happy. That's my will for you. I want you to be happy. And when you're happy, it creates. You don't even have to think of anything. You're just bringing happy to you on the outside, because that is the vibration that you're hitting. That is the vibration of love, is joy and peace. So part of this is really needing to accept and believe that that only love exists and that all of life is in divine order, instead of trying to make sense of everything. Like, instead of trying to make sense of everything that's happening right at this moment, it's really being able to embrace the time you've been given to come closer to your creator or spirit or whatever you call God. It is an opportunity for you to get closer to yourself and experience yourself. But believing that this is truth, that you are a spiritual being having a human experience, is really key. Because if you don't believe, it really makes things not happen in the way that you think that it should. Because you can't stay in a state of safety and protection and love if you don't believe. It's like, I believe in miracles, right? Mm-hmm. Because life is a miracle. You are a miracle. You're living this existence is a pure miracle.
Mm-hmm. It is. And it's that saying that I love, you'll see it when you believe it. The belief has to be there. That faith that it's real has to be there.
Mm-hmm. And I know that's hard when people see other things, sort of like what I used to do is, well, why is this happening? Or why is that happening? Or, well, why did I just lose somebody that I love, or a friend? Or and we don't have the answers to that. It is all part of our experience. And we have to be steeped in God is good. God is good. And I don't know why this is happening, and I don't have to label it as bad. I don't have to label things good or bad, because that gets us tripped up too in loving the life that we have been given. Yeah. So when you are in belief and you're in, I call it holy communion with God, is a mutual admiration and love between you and your creator, it takes your worries away, because you're feeling profound love like you've never felt before. So your relationship, that all you have to do is go within to find it, because it's nowhere else. It is within you. When you have time now, for some people, we've slowed down, and other people, it's made things a little harried for them. But it's also an opportunity to carve out and try to do something different at this moment and really embrace your life. Mm-hmm. One of the other things that is part of my reaction to this incarnation, and having really irrational expectations what it means to ascend, and what it means to expand my consciousness, I had another conversation with John the Baptist, and this was a while ago, and he asked me a question, because I kept saying, you know, why do I have to keep hearing ego thoughts? I mean, I've even said, why can't I just stop thinking and all I do is hear God? And I was told, you wouldn't be having this experience if that was happening. And And so I was constantly asking for it to be different. I want to be different. I want to feel like this all the time and not that. I want to hear this and not that. I want it to go the way that I'm writing, thinking it should go, my process. And John said, don't you like being Deb? Don't you like being you? And that really made me sit back and think about what he just said to me. I don't like being, that's what I'm saying. Change. I need to change instead of understanding my own perfection with all the aspects that come with being a spirit, having a human existence, the incarnation, and all of that, what that means, the aspects, we were calling them immigrants the other day, is having all of these foreign voices or energy or whatever you want to call it, that's constantly challenging our peace. And do I not like being me? So that was a huge question, and I'm throwing that out there to other people, is when we keep saying, change me, change me, change me, change me, or I don't like this, I don't like that, we're not understanding our own divine perfection, and we're not loving the life and incarnation that we have been given, the magic of this life. We're not really understanding. And I don't like calling it a game, but it is about understanding that this life comes with challenges as we grow in remembering back to who we are, as our consciousness keeps growing back to who you are, your divine nature, versus going someplace else. You're returning home to yourself.
Yeah, and I think it's really great that we're asking people that are watching, our audience, do you like you? Do you like this person that you are, this incarnation that you are? That was a struggle I had most of my life, Deb.
Mm-hmm.
That self-concept of, this person that was on this earth, and what the heck is it all about anyway? There's been many, many times when I would do that. Why? And why is not our best friend. I threw that out a long time ago. I'm like, all right, God, I'm not going to ask you why anymore. What I ask now is, what's this all about? So even like in some of my biggest struggles, I would sit and just communicate with God, the angels, my spirit guides. And I'm like, okay, I really need some understanding. What is this all about?
Mm-hmm.
But until we can get to that point, we have to realize, like you said, we have to come to that acceptance. We're here, perfectly here, as this person we are.
Mm-hmm.
And until we can see that perfection in ourselves, we're going to keep asking the why. We're going to keep thinking of ourselves as a victim at times. And we're not going to find that peace that passes all understanding until we do come to that complete acceptance of me as me.
Mm-hmm.
And I may see other people, I may do the comparison. Oh, wow, I wish I was like that. But until we can get past that and really accept us, we're going to continue doing the comparisons and seeing the duality in the world. But when we do come to that place of acceptance, and I'm pretty sure I'm there, almost all the way there. I like me. I like me now. And I could never say that before this current journey of inward clearing out and doing the really deep inner work that I've done to reach this place.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it just happens. We have to really get back in touch with who we are as spirit to
Mm-hmm.
reach that place.
Yeah, I totally agree. And, you and I have done a lot of the same internal work with spirit
Yes.
Because doing it without spirit is not the same thing, because you're not getting a divine perspective on what you have experienced and what you continue to experience. So doing the work, like I had to find out what was creating. I had a lot of self-hatred. What was creating that? What were the thoughts? What were my beliefs that were creating all of this in me, that were making me not like myself, or actually reject myself, or you can call it, it is really abandonment of yourself. And so the process of spiritual growth is understanding who you truly are, and unwinding with divine truth all of the experiences, so you can actually accept, like you're talking about. And that takes time. Accepting divine truth of who you are takes time. It's just part of the incarnation. So we could sit around and say, I am. But integrating that is a whole nother thing.
Mm-hmm. It is.
Because you can know it in your mind, but getting it in your heart, and your mind and your heart syncing together and actually believing it is another part of the process.
Mm-hmm.
So when you are coming from a place of knowing who you are divinely, and cherished, and safe, and that your existence is really pure joy, you now are creating a new you. It is creating a new you by embracing the truth and the love of your life. And when you're creating a new you, you're creating a new world. Just by loving the experience and the gift of life. If you do nothing else, just being in a state of love and joy and peace, it is a gift to the world.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what we came here to do. We came here to remember who we are and help others remember who they are. And to really treat yourself. Treat yourself as divine, and treat others as divine, and treat the earth as divine, because it is only one consciousness, and you're just seeing a mirror of what is inside your own consciousness. So the process of this is, it's a life journey, and we, based on kind of our personality, we can make it, you can resist it more, or we can embrace it more. And that's also a gift, because by embracing this journey and this life that we've been given, you have the opportunity to experience the wonder of you, the creation, and all of that life has to offer. So you are creation. You are creation in motion. And so taking the time to experience the wonder of you. And so when you can sit quiet and you can hear yourself and hear all these different aspects and what you think, and you can have multiple different feelings going on at the same time, you are, and your love, you are experiencing the wonder of you. And that's what I was saying is, no, I don't want all of these other extraneous things. I just want things to be like this. I don't want to hear those naughty things. I don't want to hear those mean things. But when you do, and you understand what it is, that there's no truth to it, You do have to pay attention to your feelings, though, because your feelings are really important. Your feelings are, they're all energy. And we're here to bring love and compassion to all of those feelings and move that energy through. And we move it through by loving it, by turning love inside ourselves. The same way you would do with a small child, when you're working with your child and they're upset. You have to have that same view about working with your own self. So we're here, these are all opportunities to experience who I'm created to be, who you're created to be. And it is a choice.
Yeah, and I love that you just said that, Deb, because when we think about a child being upset, we want to nurture them, we want to comfort them, right? But we don't do that same thing to ourselves when we get upset and we get to that point of things are out of control. We get angry with ourselves, we get down on ourselves for doing that. So it's a good point to treat ourselves the way we would treat a child
Mm-hmm.
and give that comfort and give that love and pull in divine love to really honor those emotions and
Mm-hmm.
say it's okay to get mad, it's okay to get sad.
Yes.
Accepting them is what heals them.
Mm-hmm. Yes, we're integrating all these aspects into ourself and allowing our higher self to take lead over all of these different aspects going on. So, and it depends how we grew up. Like if you were not allowed to say how you would feel, if you were not allowed to vent, if you had to behave a certain way all the time, otherwise you got in trouble, which is a lot of stuff that I went through, like lots of other kids.
I was always in trouble.
Yeah, always. So then you learn to stuff everything down, and then you get really frustrated with yourself when you're not performing in the way that you think you're supposed to perform. I had such a difficult relationship with frustration, and I would see how angry I would get at myself if I did something wrong, or if something wasn't working as quickly as I wanted it to when I was working on something. And so all of these things came from how we coped with growing up and how we learned coping skills, or those, and that was keeping me in place. If I had to just be what my parents expected of me, and when you're really little, you really don't have any coping skills. So a lot of times we become, very, what is the word? You're just not nice with yourself. You're very restrictive with yourself, and you're constantly trying to control yourself. And that's part of this process, is letting go of control, because there's nothing wrong with you. And as you watch these aspects come out, they're there coming out so you can heal and integrate them and say, oh, now I know why I was so frustrated, because nobody ever helped me try to figure out another way of coping with my feelings. And I bet right now, as people have been going through this 7-week process of this staycation, they've had the ability to find within their own self, how do I deal with things when I have no control of things outside of myself, that there's other things being controlled for me, and how do I watch my family when we're together 24/7 and they're feeling out of control. And so it's a perfect time for you to get really comfortable with every single part of you and have grace for yourself and grace for other people. And when you really want to learn how to have grace, sit in meditation and watch the grace that is given you. Because the grace that is given you is overwhelming. Overwhelming. I don't know how many times I said to Jesus, I can't believe he doesn't slap me upside the head, because I just was like, I am so thick. I'm not getting it. I'm not getting it. I'm not getting it. And I finally get things today that he was trying to teach me before. He said he gave me all my books so that I can go back and reread them, because I'm going to forget. And I needed to have the books to read them again so I don't forget all the things that he taught me. But the grace and unconditional love is amazing. And so you learn how to borrow that from within yourself, because I really didn't have any other way of learning these things, because I didn't have it for myself. And I would have it at times for other people, but not in the way that I needed to learn how to have it for other people and for myself. So what a glorious time to, even if you started with 5 minutes a day, is and just write down what you find about yourself. Like, all you have to say, okay, I noticed this about myself today. This came up in this feeling, and this is the way I reacted. And where is that coming from? And what inside of me needs to be healed, so that I'm bringing more love to myself, I'm bringing more joy to myself, and therefore I'm bringing more love and joy to everyone outside of me. And not thinking that it's going to happen tomorrow.
That's beautiful, and that's a great idea. Yeah, I've been doing that myself, writing those letters to myself during this time, and writing down what's important that I want to remember coming out of this time.
Mhm.
How do I want to continue a change maybe that I have made? As I looked and examined, what's this all about?
Mhm.
Then I've created some new habits. I've let go of some old habits. And I
Mhm.
want to remind myself later that this is a decision that I made consciously that I want to continue in my lifetime.
Mhm. Yeah, that's beautiful, because that's what this time is for. I mean, it's a blessing. And I know that people don't feel that way when they feel so much stress about finances or their job or whatever's happening. But it is the perfect time to reach inside and say, I don't know how this is going to work, but I have to have faith in knowing that I am taken care of, and that everything will work out the way that it's supposed to, and work out for my good. Work out for my good, not for my bad. And so going inside and developing this relationship um, with your creator shifts everything. It will shift. My life is not the same. My life, and every day I still get reminded of how much I'm loved, and that I'm joy, and that to be happy, because it is easy to get sucked into the stories of life and the stories that we make up in our head, which we're really good at. We make up loads of stories about ourselves and other people, and that creates so much stress inside of ourselves. So what we're doing is getting rid of all of those stories. We're undoing the stories that we came up with. And you just take one day at a time, one moment at a time, one moment at a time. You have the ability to catch yourself during the day and say, if I have moved away from peace, where did I go? How did I, you may not even know how long it took you that you were gone for hours. And so all you have to do is shift back to yourself, and you can say, I used to say all the time, God, pull me back in. Pull me back in, because I went off somewhere in my head that is so far away from you, from truth. And I know I really didn't go anywhere, but in my mind, in my consciousness mind, I just went and took a visit someplace else. And so I would ask all the time, pull me back in, pull me back in, pull me back in. Pull me back into my heart. Put your hand on your heart, pulls you back in. your breath, doing some deep breathing pulls you back into your heart. It settles you. And even if you had to take 20 deep breaths to get yourself lowered in your stress level, your anxiety, you do it. It's worth it. It's a practice to start doing every single day. So we do make choices all day long, but staying present helps you catch when you've run amok and you've gone step down in the hole again. So we can pull ourselves back out, ask for help. You have so much support within you. It is amazing. Everywhere you turn, within and without. Embrace the divine gift of eternal life and the miracle of you. Because that's all this is. So Terry, I know that you're going to have to leave because you have a show coming up.
I do.
And I was really happy to spend this time with you.
Oh, I loved it, Deb, and I loved our listeners today and the interaction that was going on. And I want to thank all of you who put your comments in. And Angie Taylor, just love you so much, honey. Thank you for being here and contributing. And Kimberly, we really appreciate our listeners, and we do want your comments. We want to know how you are resonating with what's being talked about here on the show, and we want to hear how your life is, and if there's anything that we speak that's the same in your life. You just tell us. Just type it in the comments because we do read those. We do pay attention. After the show is off the air, we go in to where we can really sit and reply to you.
Yes. And it's important. Your feedback is very important to us. And this is a community. So we're all here to help each other. And you have the same wisdom inside of you that I do. And so you sharing really helps all of us as well. And it's not just, it's also letting other people know that we're not that much different from each other. We have all experienced very similar things. And so by you sharing your own journey, your wisdom, it helps everyone.
Absolutely. Deb, thank you so much for this show today and for the beautiful teachings of Jesus and John the Baptist. And I really got a lot out of it. I really, it's been a lot of stuff that's already on my mind and things that have been going on with the inner reflection during this 7-week period. I think there has to be a book or a song or something about the 7 weeks. But thank you. Thank you for being so open and for hearing spirit and for hearing that message that you're supposed to open your mouth and speak it. I love that. And I love that about you. Thank you. And you're on every Wednesday at 5 o'clock Eastern Time.
Yes. So I look forward to being here with you again next week. And really keep tuning in to Enlightened World Network and Enlightened World Network's Enlightened Living. Enlightened Living. Yes. Yeah. For all the beautiful shows that we have on for you. So that we're all rising up together.
Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah. All the brothers and the sisters together. Yeah. So we're going to say goodbye for now, knowing that we are one love, protected and held in divine order by our Creator. Go out this day in this awareness and allow God's peace and joy to occupy every thought. Lead with your heart and welcome everyone home, for all are loved. Yes. God bless you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.